On this episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, what might have be the most disappointing free agent offseason in recent memory? Questions still abound for Broncos country. Who's still left and what comes next? We're going to get to all that and more on the Denver Bronco Roundup starting right about now. Welcome in, everybody, to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Another fantastic episode. It's a Saturday night. Appreciate everyone jumping in here, hanging out with us. My name is Keith Brugman. I'll be one of your hosts this evening, talking about, at least in my opinion, one of the most disappointing free agent off seasons I can remember in recent memory. Hopefully, we still have some fixes out there. Hopefully, we can look towards the future. And I'm going to do that with the guys on the screen. I'm going to start down at the bottom. I'll start with the judge himself, Jody Moncrief. How you doing, Judge? How you feeling this evening?
Doing good. I know I'm on the exact opposite of everyone else, but I don't hate what we've done in free agency. We've locked up what we needed to. This team was a hurt Bo Nix away from making the Super Bowl, so other than running back, I like what we've done this offseason.
Feeling pretty good about things. I think that's how the Denver Broncos have maybe felt. George Payton even came out and said, man, if he could go out there and get Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad, he'd be a pretty happy man, and by danged if he didn't. Trevor, we got you on the podcast this evening breaking down what your thoughts are about this free agency offseason and seeing how you're doing, man. How you doing this evening?
Doing well, Keith, and we just kind of talked about weather. Thankfully, that's not a lot of snow on the ground right now. I'm glad, no offense, you're getting the snow and not me. But no, excited to be here. Break down the Broncos offseason a little bit. I think I'm right in the middle between you guys. So I think it'll make it for a fun show, for sure. But like to see the Broncos be a little bit aggressive at times, but then also realize you have a Super Bowl window. But we'll see. Big risk. I think bringing back all your guys and not being as aggressive as you'd want for each.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hoping for more. You're kind of in the middle. I'm the one that's been pounding the table. I was really hoping, and I'm not this guy, Trevor. We've went back and forth many a times in agreement that I want to be conservative. I want my draft picks. I want to think towards the future. I thought this was the year. I thought this is the year that to throw all caution to the wind and really get after it in free agency. It's not what we end up seeing. But I digress. I want to get to the comments real quick. Rodney came in here really quick over on YouTube saying, good evening, gents. Happy Saturday and go Broncos. Happy Saturday to you. As Trevor alluded to, I've been shoveling out in probably the largest winter storm, by far the largest winter storm of the season up here in Montana. So, yeah, it's been fun. I hope that you're having a good Saturday. I'm having a good Saturday now because I'm hanging out with all of you, like Ernie May saying, hello, Keith and Trevor and Jody, and go Broncos, country only. I think maybe Ernie and Jody are going to be on the same page because Ernie's very much a fall in line with the team and be happy with what we've done. Our good friend Albert Knopper saying, hello, guys. It's the first time a football team did not sign a player from a different team in the first week of free agency. Albert, hope you're doing well. Saw that you were in the hospital. Don't even know what's going on, my friend, but just wishing you the very best. And you're absolutely right, man. Broncos do something that's kind of historic, not signing a free agent in the first week, re-signing a lot of their own guys, though, man. Only losing a few out there. And as Jody alluded to, I mean, that close to going to the Super Bowl, maybe a Bo Nix and J.K. Dobbins away. Jody, you say we are a broken ankle away from the Super Bowl. I agree, but do you think we are a broken ankle away from winning the Super Bowl? Martin wants to know over on YouTube. Jody, I'm hitting it to you right now, right off the bat.
I said when I was asked this right after the Super Bowl, I think it's a fourth quarter game, and we seen what Denver did 13 times last year in the fourth quarter. So, and against Buffalo. So I don't know if they win the game, but they're in it in the fourth quarter, and I like my chances based off of everything I've seen last year.
Yeah, he was saying if the answer was no, then what do we need to get better? But you were saying, we are that close, and you're absolutely right, man. Rolling the dice in the fourth quarter.
And I want to say
Denver,
that
I just want to finish what I was saying. Rolling the dice in the fourth quarter with the Denver Broncos like in your hand, it felt like you're rolling with loaded dice, man. We came up with the right numbers more often than not. Go ahead, my friend.
And I want to say running back. Running back is the one position that I wish we had upgraded in, free agency. But there's still a draft, and there's guys I like in the draft. So if they are able to get one of the 2 or 3 guys I like in the draft, then it's forgiven for me. That really is it. I'm excluding trades, AJ Brown, George Pitkins, all that. I'm just talking straight guys that you could just go get for whatever amount of money. So that was the one position. So,
man, you're getting a lot of love, man. This might have to be Jody's show from here on out, man. I'll have to put him up in the top right-hand corner. Glenn's coming in from down under saying, good morning, Keith, Trevor, Jody, and Posse. I'm with Jody. If we have Nix, Jones, Dobbins, and Bryant, we win the Super Bowl. Peyton won't overspend. The draft's good, and we've got irons in the fire at tight end. Man, you guys are going to end up talking me into it if I keep getting all these points. Sometimes just, you tune out Jody after you know him for a while. No, I'm just kidding you, my friend. Just kidding. Phil McLaughlin, I got to get this one. Then I'm going to get over to Trevor. We're going to start getting into maybe some solutions that are still out there in free agency. He's coming in saying, good evening, Keith, Rocketman, and Judge. Did I see they are bringing McLaughlin back? Also, he's coming in with 100 stars. Believe it or not, Trevor, what's the answer?
Absolutely.
Of course.
I mean, they're bringing Jaleel McLaughlin back on the league minimum.
What
so
happened?
it's a 1-year deal, but they're running everything back, of course, and I mean, it's just, I guess I don't really understand the urgency. I mean, unless Jaleel McLaughlin had really had a market, which I don't think he really did. I mean, this could have been a signing that I think they could have waited on. I don't think it really impacts Denver's, what their plans are in the draft. I do think they're going to end up drafting running back. I think they want to get younger there. So, yeah, they brought Jaleel McLaughlin back. It's a depth piece. But I still think there's more to be added at running back, and I think they will. I don't think this impacted their plans much at all going forward.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, man. There's this free agency was completely unexpected, man. Completely unexpected for everybody, and including Jody, who's back. Jody, good to have you back, my friend. I threw you off the screen for just a moment there. Well, you got things taken care of. I guess Albert got things taken care of. He has a new left knee, and he's saying with strength and health staff, I can see Dobby staying healthy, which he was until that tackle. And, yeah, we've talked about that as well. That tackle could be the difference in a great season from J.K. Dobbins compared to what we ended up with, which is a guy who struggled to try to get back onto the field as we went down the stretch. Kenny Kirkpatrick, good evening, fellows in the posse. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm the outside perspective. Schedule was easy, and baby got some by some weaker teams. Remember Giants game? Maybe got by some weaker teams. And I think that's what he's going for there. Man, you guys are blowing up the comments. I'll jump a little bit ahead because Rodney's coming in here. Rodney Garcia, good friend of the show over on YouTube. I'll go either or. How would you rate these guys? I'll go to Jody on this one. He likes Jonah Coleman. He likes Mike Washington Jr. I know that you lean one way compared to the other, but I want to get your thoughts on both.
For me, Washington by far. I love his size. I like what he did at Arkansas with a horrible Arkansas team, and he doesn't have a lot of carries. I mean, that was his first real, and he didn't even have that many carries last year. He averaged like 6.4. So Washington easily for me. Coleman's probably my third or fourth running back behind Washington and Price. So.
Yeah, I'm on the same ilk. Trevor, any thoughts about Jonah Coleman though? I want to get somebody talking about him a little bit.
Yeah, I like Jonah Coleman ish. Again, I'm not very high on this draft class. I'll be honest. This is where I'm kind of questioning the Broncos' plan going forward. Like, yeah, I like Mike Washington, fine, but there's fumble issues, and that's something that Sean Payton does not like in running back. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I like Mike Washington, that upside, but is that a Sean Payton kind of guy? I just typically just doesn't go for running backs that have fumbling issues in college because usually they transfer to the NFL. But I like Coleman, and I think that this helps the Broncos not have to overdraft the running back. That's something they got to keep in mind too, is they cannot overdraft the running back. I mean, when I say that, it's like I'm hearing Mike Washington at pick 30. Like, why? Like, move back if you want, but it's like I think he's a day 2 guy. You can't overdraft the running back. You just signed J.K. Dobbins back. You kind of laid your bed there because you weren't aggressive enough at running back and in free agency. So I understand them needing to take a running back in the draft. I don't think this is the draft for them to do it. Keith, remember we talked about it last year in the draft where we said maybe the Broncos should double dip. That was a deep draft class for running back. And you've seen the amount of running backs that came out of last year's draft, and then you compare it to this year's. I don't think this is the year that the year to be looking for a running back other than Jeremiah Love. I mean, really, like there's still question marks throughout this draft of running back. So I just question the Broncos' timing at running back. Like last year was the year that you wanted to double dip if you're going to do that, or take a running back in the draft. Not this year, in my opinion.
Oh, very good, my friend. Roster's not good enough, says Kenny Kirkpatrick. Patrick Wiltsey coming in over from the islands, the Hawaiian Islands. Aloha, boys. I am sure there is a plan. If it's revealed, it will never happen. Aloha to you, Patrick. Good to see you, man. And if anybody loves coffee like I do, like I'm sipping right now way too late at night, lioncoffee.com. That's my little shameless plug for Patrick, our good friend as well. I'm going to get into one other one. Glenn Ashley's coming in and saying, I'm sorry. Biggie Bronco. Sorry, Glenn. I'll get to you on another comment. Biggie Bronco, what do you think about Denver clearing up some of this space? And do you think there's a trade coming? Because I do. I think there's 2 trades coming. This is my super hot take. I still think George Pickens is still in the mix. And if you want to give up 2 first-round picks, that's not that much, especially when you're giving up this year. You just got to take on that tag and then maybe work something out long-term with him so it's not so big in the first year. But a lot of space cleared up and enough space that you could rework a contract quite easily, in my opinion, to bring George Pickens in the door. That's my 2 cents. Got to say hello to Pearl real quick before we get to any more thoughts. And it's good to see you, Miss Pearl. Hello to you. And she's saying hi, guys, to us. Martin's just saying I'd like to see us pick up a 3-down type of back to take every third drive or so to keep JK healthy throughout the year. Gentlemen, I think we're going to get some thoughts around this, and maybe we'll get some thoughts from everybody else on our picks as well. Jody, I'm going to start with you, man. You came in, you had 3 different players on your list, free agents that's still available. Tell me the names, start talking about them. I'll get the graphic up, my friend.
Before I do that, can I ask you guys a question real quick since everyone's bringing up a running back?
Yes, sir.
If Dobbins plays a full, I've said he's going to play 15 or more games this year. If he does that and he's available for your playoff run as well, are you more confident in this team with what you've seen from him last year?
Trevor, go ahead, man.
I mean, I think that's a huge if, but yeah, I mean, when he's on the field, he's a dang good running back, but that's a big question. When he's on the field, he's never been on the field for a full season. So the Broncos need to, this offseason and the rest of the offseason, they need to plan for him not to be, because you'd rather be planned for him not to be on the field than him to be plan on him being on the field, tongue tied there, because you want to make sure that you're prepared. And RJ Harvey clearly right now, as of right now, anyways, from last season, hopefully he's improved this offseason. He's not. I don't think he's not prepared for that yet. So I think Broncos, yes, you want to hope for the best, J.K. Dobbins, but you got to be prepared for him not to be on the field because you need insurance options. You cannot afford to not have any insurance options, especially in the playoffs. You've got to be able to run the football in the playoffs. That's very important. You've seen that with the Seattle Seahawks. Defense and running the football.
I agree. How's that? I'll make it short and sweet. I love J.K. Dobbins, but J.K. Dobbins has proven, even if it happened to be a freak injury last year for the Denver Broncos, that it's tough to rely on him for 15 games. He's hit 15 games once in his entire career, and if he does it again, which Jody's predicting, so be it. But we really need him for 19 games or 18 games or whatever it happens to be. So that's what we really want. And I think he'll need some help in order to get there. I see a comment that came in. It was from our good friend Rodney Garcia. I think it plays in just perfectly into what we should talk about right here. Maybe your first pick here, buddy. Want to talk about Cam Jordan?
Yeah, on a 1 year, maybe 2 year deal. I think he's 36, going to be 37, but he had 10.5 sacks last year. He's right around the same size as John Franklin Myers, so I think he fits. He can play on the line as well. He's played with Sean Payton in the past, so he knows what to expect coming here, what Sean Payton's going to do in training camp and that type of stuff. I think he would fit in perfect. And he's not someone you have to rely on to play 90% of the snaps. You got Sylveon Jones there. You just paid Malcolm Roach. He can fit right in the rotation, and you can have healthy guys rotating in. I think you expect more from Awazarike as well. So in that rotation, he would fit perfect. And like I said, he had 10.5 sacks last year. That's more than what JFM had. So,
a couple of different things I want to get to. I agree with Cam Jordan, almost everything you said. I like the 1 year signing idea. I also like the fact that I think that he's the right character type of guy to come into this locker room, which I think is important for Sean.
And he wears that C on his chest. That's important.
Exactly. That character type of guy, that captain type of guy, that Walter Payton Man of the Year, numerous time nominee, I'm sure, Cam Jordan. I want to get to a couple other things. I'm going to drop this out real quick. First, I want to get to Pearl. She's needing some prayers for a very old friend that has cattle in a Morgan horse ranch near in Nebraska. They're now evacuating 65 horses from the Nebraska fires that have been our friends for over 35 years. So any thoughts, anything that you can send up to Pearl's friends out there, their cattle, their horses, and what's going on in Nebraska, please do so. Never know what might be able to help out somebody. So thoughts and prayers are with you, Pearl, and your friends. So Phil McLaughlin asked a question here. I want to give this one to Trevor. If we don't see improvement from Harvey this year, do we consider him a bust? What does improvement look like to you, Trevor, to the point that you don't consider him a bust, or is he even on that track for you?
I mean, I think he's on the track because, they're giving him another chance, and George Payton has come out multiple times and said that they think he's a 3-down back. And so I've got to see it. I think that also goes to show why maybe they're not overpaying for a running back like Travis Etienne or, some of the other guys. I think they would have pursued Breece Hall pretty aggressively too if he was out there on the free agent market. But I think he needs to be a 3-down back. That's he's got to be improving in pass pro. That's where it starts with RJ Harvey, and so I think he's shown signs of improvement for sure. But year 2, he's got to take that leap because if not, you got to find a guy that can. And you're investing in J.K. Dobbins for a year. It's really a 1 year, $8 million contract. So you're going to have to reevaluate the running back position next offseason anyway, more than likely. So I think this is RJ Harvey's year to try to make that big leap. And if he can do something, that solves your problem there at running back for a while. And so I think he's got the burst and the speed to be that guy. But he's got to be more consistent with that and show, hey, I can be that 3-down back for this team. And going forward, I'm going to show you that. So RJ Harvey's development this offseason is critical for his season going forward and critical for the Broncos going forward because of where this running back room currently stands.
I agree. I'm going to throw a different question at Jody, kind of off of this real quick. If Javonte Williams was here right now, where would he line up in this running back room?
With Dobbins on the roster?
Is Dobbins on the roster right now?
He probably your running back too. They have full faith in J.K. Dobbins. I mean, they didn't wait very long to go sign him. As soon as they found out they were out on ETN and it was signed J.K. Dobbins, they didn't need to sign him right then. He was going nowhere. So they have full faith there. Javonte, he's probably a running back too, in my opinion. I don't know that we ever see what we've seen in Dallas. It's just a different style of running and that type of thing. So, but
Agreed.
Good for him. But
yeah,
he's probably a running back too.
It just made me think about when we were talking about the development of RJ Harvey, and it takes a little bit of time. And are we thinking about someone being off track way too early? You know what I mean? Now you see Javonte Williams, he's down there in Dallas, and like you said, different scheme, but now he's getting paid. Kind of led the free agent class when it came to running backs as far as getting taken care of. So,
and I think RJ Harvey, when people say needs to improve, it's got to be running between the tackles. You can see he still likes to bounce outside a lot, and when that's open, he is one of the fastest guys, and he can take it to the house. And his receiving skills and out of the backfield, that's not a problem. It's the run between the tackles and the patient running that you get from J.K. Dobbins. When the hole's not there, he still can get you 3 or 4, where RJ Harvey's running in the back of linemen and getting nothing or 1. That's the leap that I think, in my opinion, that he needs to really take, is the running between the tackles and the patient running.
Very good. I've been patient now. Everybody's been patient. Trevor's been patient to talk about maybe one of his free agents. I'm going to throw one up on the screen, man. It's going to be a defensive player for you, since we're going to go back and forth a little bit as far as your picks are concerned. I want to talk about Matt Milano a little bit and why you think he'd be a good pick for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, this would be – you're going to notice, a lot of people are going to notice. I mean, I agree with Jody too on the Cam Jordan thing. I think he'd be a great signing. I actually think Denver should be more aggressive when it comes to addressing their defensive line, filling that JFM role more than anything. I think that's where the Broncos' focus should be. But Matt Milano, I just like the player. I mean, I like what he is able to do, in Buffalo. I think he's just kind of still been out there in the open market. You do got to worry about kind of injury concerns with him. But I think for the price you're going to get him for, and the player and the playoff experience he has, that's why I added him to my list, because of what he can do when he's healthy. And now we're talking about health. I get that. But we really need insurance in that linebacker room, in my opinion. I mean, I think Alex Singleton and Justin Strnad, I like bringing back Justin Strnad. Not as high on Alex Singleton, but I understand it. But again, when Alex Singleton gets exposed, or when there's an injury, you've got to have something else in that linebacker room. Drake Greenlaw's out the door, so this would be that kind of Drake Greenlaw replacement. I think Milano offers quite a bit to this team when it comes to size, speed, and being able to cover tight ends downfield. I just think with the injury issues that he's had, I think that's kind of set him back a little bit. But if you're going to get a healthy Matt Milano, I think he certainly is an upgrade in this linebacker room and gives you depth. Now you're not having to fish for linebacker in the draft. Now you don't have to take a linebacker in the first round. We talk about rookies and rookies needing time to develop. George Payton has talked about it too multiple times. Now you can let that linebacker prospect develop. And you got a veteran in front and a guy that knows how to win and win at a high level. So Matt Milano for me is on my list, and I think you can get a pretty good bargain, I think, for what he's going to go for in the open market.
Rodney likes it. He says, I would love Milano, though, because he also said, didn't he have that torn tricep injury? And
would he be a starter for you, Trevor, or a depth piece?
I think you can. I mean, I think he'd be in that linebacker rotation. I mean, I think he would spell Cernat and Singleton. So I think he'd be in that rotation with those guys. Just be the three of them.
I wanted to get to this one real quick because it's a new name that I've seen, at least, over on YouTube coming in. Ron Carter, or maybe that's Ron Arter. I'm sorry. Let's bring Philip Lindsay in to help coach running back rooms, specifically the smaller backs. He gives those that cool and American flag. We like that, my friend. It's funny because we have been bringing in former players. Obviously, we just recently seen Willie Snead the fourth. I'm sorry, brought in to help coach as far as the wide receivers are concerned. Maybe Philip Lindsay. Who knows? And then Pearl's advocating that we just play Philip Lindsay. A career cut short. Maybe another time. Trevor, I like your thoughts around Matt Milano just because I was big on trying to get a linebacker in here. As you know, I was huge on Devin Lloyd. Carolina Panthers end up swooping him up. But, at this point, trying to find a good quality linebacker, I think he's a guy that's pretty versatile, from sideline to sideline and could spell a guy like Singleton. So I like the idea as far as a rotation at this point. See if he'd be willing to take that rotational role.
Well, and I don't trust Drew Sanders right now. You can't. I mean, you don't even know if he's going to make this 53-man roster at this point. I mean, he hasn't been healthy in a long time. So talk about health. Drew Sanders, you cannot, in my opinion, you can't go into the season, him being the third linebacker in this linebacker room.
Yeah, when was the last time he actually played football?
Yeah, exactly. 2-3 seasons now.
Been a little while.
Yeah.
I see Biggie Bronco in there. He's got comments. He would love to see Sonny Styles fall out of the top 10 and have an opportunity there, but he doesn't think that's a possibility. Rodney Garcia says, what happened to Devin White? Did anyone sign him? I'm not sure on Devin White, and maybe we can do a little bit of research on that in a little bit here, my friend.
He's still a free agent. He's an option. He'd be an option, but he's kind of bounced around everywhere over the last several seasons. So, yeah, I mean, he's just, I think just that and alone itself is a concern, but he's on the open market for sure. I think you want a little more of a seasoned veteran. I think that's where I'm going with a linebacker in this room. I mean, because you haven't added anything, and this has been a linebacker room that you would say is probably the weak point for this defense right now.
Lots of names coming around as Big E Broncos reminding us that Isaiah Simmons is still out there as well. And Phil McLaughlin's like, Sanders is still on the team. Yeah, he's still on the team. In fact, he was practicing late into the season. Even we thought there was a possibility he might be getting into the playoff possibility. I'm going to get to my first one. And it's right along the lines of that big guy that we wanted up front. We've been talking about it for a few years. We even talked about putting a big guy on here as a free agent yourself, but I'm talking big. I'm talking DJ Reader big. I'm talking 6'3", 330 pounds, stacked the middle, and the guy's still getting it done year after year. Yeah, he's 32 years old, but he just put up a fantastic year in Detroit. DJ Reader is a guy that I would bring in the building and plug up the middle, make it easier on those linebackers we just got done talking about, make it easier for guys like Zach Allen and guys like little old Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper and those guys. DJ Reader is an absolute eater in the middle, and that's my first pick for a free agent still out there on the market.
The only concern for me, Keith, is the JFM replacement. I mean, Reader's great at stuff in the run, but as far as getting after the quarterback, can he still do that anywhere close to what a JFM could do? But I like the big body in there. I would wonder, does this mean Nwazurike is out the door because you're bringing in a veteran? I think this exactly would be one of those Nwazurike kind of replacements, in my opinion, more or less, because he's plugging up the middle and not necessarily getting after the quarterback, although the pressures are there. The sack numbers aren't quite where you like a JFM would be. So this would be more of a Nwazurike replacement, in my opinion. But it could be a cheap veteran option for a Super Bowl contender like the Broncos too.
Are you guys sold that Malcolm Roach's, as of today, is the replacement for JFM?
Trevor, I'll let you go first, man.
No, I think I think they want to get Savion Jones on the field. He's a 3rd-round pick. I think that's what they're trying to do. Go get younger there, but they need to do something. And it's insurance options, in my opinion. They've got to have some sort of veteran in that room because Savion Jones, he didn't play much last year. Heck, a lot of weeks he was inactive.
And that's my point. I think this is more like a guy that you can bring in. I don't think he takes anybody. Well, let's face it. As many Broncos as we brought back, he's probably going to take somebody's playing time, of course. But, I think you bring a guy in like DJ Reader, you just change the face of that defense, especially in short yardage situations. And in situations you think they're going to be running the ball, you can go ahead and you can substitute out guys. But I think he's still good enough if he gets stuck out there 3-4 downs. Absolutely, DJ Reader. Yeah, Wazirike might be one of those guys that gets a few less snaps. But like you were talking about, it's all about sometimes about rotation, even in the linebackers as well as the defensive front. I want to talk really quick about our sponsor, guys, and then we'll get into all the rest of the players that we have on our list. Just 2 more from each of us. But our amazing sponsor is Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices for over 35 years. They used to be a nationwide company, but now they just play in your backyard, northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, doing shows left, right, and otherwise, including the Coin Show. You probably know that if you were out at the Longmont Fairgrounds today. They're doing it March 14th and 15th, the Coin Show at the Longmont Fairgrounds. Check them out. I was just talking to Pearl just earlier in the week, and she was telling me about the amazing prices that she has on silver right now. With silver going through the roof, she has got the best prices on her silver. You can check them out at any of these shows. You can also check them out on Morgan Trinkets Co. on Etsy. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. on Etsy. And you can type in Pearl Heat over on eBay. Check them out over there as well. But now's the time to check out what Pearl's got to offer because, like I said, silver, if you're into that, beautiful, beautiful silver pieces, you won't get a better offer or a better value than what Pearl has going on right now. Check them out. Coin Show, Longmont Fairgrounds tomorrow. Jody, I'm going to keep going around the, around the horn. I don't know if that's trademarked. Let's get a little bit more offensive.
Anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. Doesn't mean they don't hold the rights. Oh no. All right, let's go offensive, man. Let's throw a guy up on the screen that you'd like to bring in, and I think everyone's been looking at the position now for a while. Talk about this guy right here.
I said in David Njoku just because I'm not really I like Evan Ingram. I don't think Denver used him right, and I'm hoping that the tweak in this offense and Davis Webb calling plays fixes that. But I'm not really a fan. Adam Troutman is what he is, but after that, I'm not a Lucas Kroll guy. I think Nate Atkins is kind of falls in the same thing. He probably will play more fullback. But I want another guy that's on the field that can do multiple things. Troutman can block. He's not really a receiver. Ingram's a receiver, can't really block. And Njoku does both. So he kind of, and we've said this multiple times, that teams knew when Troutman was on the field, we were running. When Ingram was on the field, we were passing. And this can kind of offset some stuff. So this is more of he's probably your 1A tight end. I mean, I still want to see Ingram get the bulk of the stuff, but Njoku can make plays and he can do everything. So that's where if you have a room of Ingram, Njoku, and probably Troutman, I'm happy, and maybe Atkins 4. I mean, they carried 4 tight ends last year. I'm happy with that.
The one thing I like about this is its age and its tread. And you don't see a whole lot on David Njoku in a position I think we can get better at. There's a guy that can be an absolute threat. Trevor, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, this has got to mean that Evan Ingram's out the door, though. That's the thing. And from what I've heard, they don't think that there's a tight end that's really that much better than Evan Ingram. We'll see if they're right or wrong about that one. But I like the player Njoku, but again, I think that this you got to get rid. I think Evan Ingram's probably out the door if this is a guy and a player they would bring in. But I like Njoku. I think I will say he's not the player he used to be. I think that's why you've seen Cleveland just kind of, hey, see ya. We got Harold Fannin Jr. now, and you kind of seen him kind of fall out of Cleveland when he was there in their offense. So, and I know that their quarterback position is a mess right now, but I think that he'd be something for this team. Gives you something else. I think he's a little bit better than Ingram. He'd give you that upgrade in that tight end room. I just don't think the Broncos would go in this direction. I think they go more towards the draft at this point in time, the tight end room, just because of Davis Webb and his connection with Evan Ingram. I think they think pretty highly of Evan Ingram still. That's why you see Evan Ingram still on this roster.
Yeah, I think we can find a lot of reasons why not, but I would say this. You can say we're going to go ahead and put it on the draft. Sometimes the draft doesn't work out. And we're not saying that David Njoku gets signed tomorrow. This could be something that comes after the draft for all we know, if he happens to still be out there. So it'll be interesting to see, especially how all these different pieces and parts play out, and if any pieces are added even post-draft, when it comes to some of these free agents. Man, where are we going now, Joe or Trevor?
Let me pull my list up really quick. AJ Espinoza.
All right, buddy.
So this is my JFM replacement, pretty much. I mean, I know Espinoza's been in Buffalo for a while, and this is a guy that I think can get after the quarterback. Has put up not JFM numbers quite say, but pretty dang close. I mean, and this is a guy that can play on the edge, but can also put his hand in the dirt and be effective. I think he would be a nice combination with Savion Jones, and so I think if you don't get Calais Campbell, which I like, and also Cam Jordan, those are two options I like ahead of Espinoza. But I think Espinoza would give you something to work with, another veteran option in that on that defensive line, and it can help take some pressure off Zach Allen and some of these guys up front, and can also open up the floodgates for Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper to still be able to get after the quarterback. I think JFM's role within this defense, was really be something out there so that can distract defenses to allow these pass rushers to kind of get after the quarterback a little bit. So I like AJ Espinoza. He's certainly capable of playing something similar to JFM kind of level. He's not as big as JFM, I will say that. So you're losing a little bit something in size, but you're gaining something, I think, when it comes to a veteran option, been in those big playoff moments, but knows how to get after the quarterback a little bit as well, and can stuff the run a little bit, although you wouldn't necessarily use him in that kind of role. You'd be mostly using him on third downs and whatnot. But again, I would prefer Cam Jordan and Calais Campbell over Espinoza, but he would be a nice fallback option if those guys were off the board.
If you can't tell, I think Trevor is going to make us the Buffalo Broncos or the Denver Bills. All Buffalo Bills from Trevor so far. So I'm going to get your thoughts, Jody, on AJ here. Another Buffalo Bill, and then I'm going to get to a name that he probably mentioned about 3 times, and it's a name of yours as well.
I think if you bring him in, he's just a rotational piece, really. I mean, he only started 2 games in Buffalo last year, 2 sacks. So do you really want to bring in this and stunt the growth of Savion Jones? Do you? And obviously they have a lot of faith in Malcolm Roach. I mean, if you just take game for game, the amount of games that Roach and JFM played last year, because Roach missed whatever the first 4 weeks, JFM played more snaps, or Roach played more snaps than JFM. And like Trevor keeps saying, you got to find out what Savion Jones is. You traded back into the 3rd round to get him, so you got to find out what he can do. So if you bring him in, he's just a rotational piece, in my opinion.
I know it's my turn, but you guys said the name about 5-8 times. Now we got D West, the best 32. D West, the best. I like that. Over on YouTube coming in, and he's wanting to know, how old is this guy, Jody? How old is Calais Campbell? Because he's on your list of guys that you'd like to bring in. I'm sorry. Is that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jody.
Sorry, he's 39 years old, but he's more from. I mean, he had 6.5 sacks last year. That's what JFM had last year. And he's a guy that you can, he's to me he'd be more of a rotational piece still, but he's a productional rotational piece. And if Savion Jones isn't where you want him to be, he can, I think, for 1 year can give you starter type snaps because you still can fall back on Roach. You can still fall back on Awazarike. So, and I mean, his size alone, what's he like 6? I just had it
6'8",
6'8", 315. I mean, he's a huge guy. So that would be my any. I mean, and he went to high school in Colorado, so I mean, he's got ties here. Why he's never tried to come home the couple of times, I don't know, but he would be more of a rotational piece for me than AJ Espinosa.
You mentioned the name a couple of times, Trevor, as well. You said, in fact, you'd like this guy better than Espinosa. Talk about Calais Campbell a little bit.
Well, Calais Campbell, what he does is not just being a rotational player, and I don't think he blocks Savion Jones. That's what I was kind of getting at. Cam Jordan probably blocks Savion Jones a little bit more because I think he is the better player of all these guys of Espinosa and of Campbell at this point in his career. But Campbell, what he brings is just that veteran presence that he's done it at a high level for a long time. He's 39 years old and still playing in the NFL. I mean, he had a really pretty nice season last year too. So I think he'd fit in with this team pretty well. Big in size, like Jody said, and I mean, again, what better a story would there be? Calais Campbell comes back to Denver, Colorado, and wins Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos. I mean, what a story that would be in itself. So I really like what Calais Campbell can bring to this team. He doesn't have to be the guy, but can be a nice complementary piece to this defensive line and help continue this work of this defense and continue this defense being a top 5 unit in the league.
All right. I don't have to get talked into Calais Campbell. I've been a fan for quite a long time. Like you said, Colorado kid, still continues to get it done. It's just one of those ageless wonders, that is an absolute threat every time he gets on the field. And if nothing else, get those hands up. My goodness gracious, 6'8", up around the line of scrimmage, could help us out quite a bit in that regard. I want to talk about the other side of the ball, man. I'm going to talk about 85 receptions for 1,013 yards and still on the market. We talk about 1,000-yard receivers like they've, are so tough to get. And here's one sitting out on the open market and in an offense that really didn't even feature him. Stephon Diggs. I know that he's not the youngest guy out there, but if I was going to add a wide receiver, and I'm just intending to do it through free agency, not consider the draft, just thinking about how I can get my team better right now, Stephon Diggs and 1,000 yards, I don't know how that doesn't help you. And it's a guy that can still take the top off, can still stretch the field, can still open up everything for all the other guys that you have on your roster. Yeah, I get it. We have all these pieces and parts, and it means shoving maybe somebody out the door. Rotation, gets a little bit less, but certainly we've seen that. I think you can make room for Stephon Diggs and make yourself a better team and make a Super Bowl push, putting yourself over the top. If I was going to get an offensive weapon, that's just one of my guys I have on my list.
I like the player for sure. I mean, you gotta like what you see on the field. My problem is off the field. Does he mesh well with this locker room? And I understand that some people don't care about that stuff, but it's important, and it's something that's Broncos ownership group on down to Sean Payton, on down to George Payton. They really value that kind of stuff. So, like, we can throw names around Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs. These are great players on the field, but off the field, there's obviously some issues. I wonder if that kind of played a part of the Patriots releasing him flat out. That's a big question. I think that this would be a signing that comes much later on towards training camp and stuff like that, whenever the court case with Diggs obviously transpires and you see the punishment that he's going to get or possibly get, I should say. But I like the player for sure. I mean, you play him right next to Cortland Sutton, takes some pressure off Troy Franklin, and really gives Bo Nix truly more weapons And the Broncos haven't been very active this offseason, but you got to help out your quarterback in any way possible. This would be a signing later on, but I like the player for sure. Just hopefully off the field issues get resolved, and maybe the Broncos can push that aside and have this guy a part of the team.
I'm going to get Jody's thoughts on this. Rodney's saying, I think Juwan Jennings would be decent. I know that you haven't been big on bringing in another wide receiver. What are your thoughts around Juwan Jennings, though? Obviously a big piece of that San Francisco 49ers offense for quite some time. Do you think Juwan Jennings would be have an opportunity to come in here and get some snaps?
I can start there first. That's another guy that falls in the Troy Franklin, Mims, Bryant, and I don't really want to, I've said for a while now, I don't want to take reps and stunt their growth for another guy that's going to do the same thing. So, and the more I think about it, another reason why I don't want someone like that is at some point I'm hoping this is the year, maybe with the Webb calling plays, that they actually find out what is Marvin Mims. We've seen it at the end of Bo's rookie year. I mean, he was balling out and they used him and then they just went away from it. And I don't know what the reason is, but maybe he doesn't drop the ball for one. He makes big clutch catches. And I'm hoping that they can figure out a way to get him involved more. And then to Stephon Diggs real quick.
Yeah.
Like Trevor said, the off-field stuff is probably the biggest thing. Why would the Patriots sign him to that, to that big deal and then just flat out release him and not try to get anything for him?
Sure.
And again, I've said if I don't get a true number one, then I really don't want anyone else in here. So I don't think he's a true. He may be a one, but he's no better than Sutton. So then how much better is he at his age, and what does he do to stunt the growth of? And I'll use Troy Franklin because as much as I knock Franklin, he is the guy that has the biggest upside. And if he ever, with the size and speed and stuff, if he ever can turn into a true number two, that is where Denver will be their best. So I don't want to stunt the growth with someone else like that. Now I'll stunt the growth of those guys for a Pitkins or an AJ Brown or a true number one, but not anyone else.
I would. Well, I'm not going to get into a big debate on it, but I have maybe a little bit different thought process on that. This is not going to be your guy, Jody, but it is Trevor's guy. He wanted to talk about this guy here as maybe an option when it comes to offense as well. And a guy I really liked when he first came into the league. Tell me why Christian Kirk should be an option for the Denver Broncos in free agency, Trevor.
Because he's another complimentary piece. I mean, you look at my list, a lot of these guys are, and really what's left in the free agent market, it's a lot of complimentary pieces other than maybe a few guys on the defensive line. Cam Jordan, probably only one, but that's actually, going to be something for this team. But no, this is a depth signing. I mean, this is really what it is. Christian Kirk, I think last year, when he got traded to the Titans, obviously there was, he hoped for a lot more than what he did for them. And I know that he's had injury issues in the past, but this is a guy that you're going to get, I think, a decent bang for your buck with him. I think that the Broncos, what they've had, I mean, this team has $23 million in cap space left. I think they're going to try to use that wisely because you still have a draft class you got to also sign up. So I think Christian Kirk, I mean, he's decent with his hands. I mean, when he's on the field, I think a reliable target. I do think the Broncos do need to bring in a veteran wide receiver, though, in this room. I mean, regardless, because he's this guy that's not going to overplay. I think, Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims and stuff like that. He'd be a depth piece if, a guy that's there for Bo. So I think this would be a cheap signing, veteran option that's been around the league for a while. Certainly had some really, nice years in Jacksonville. But yeah, I mean, I like Christian Kirk all the way around. Drops are not a problem with him. He's not going to be a problem in the locker room. He's going to be helpful, I think, if anything, for guys like Pat Bryant and some of these younger guys in that young wide receiver room. So nice complimentary piece for Bo in case something would happen to the wide receivers. And you can kind of mix him in that rotation because we know Sean Payton likes to use a rotation of wide receivers. And so Christian Kirk, I could see him being a Sean Payton kind of guy where he comes in, he does his role and plays his role, but won't get in the way of some of these younger wide receivers that Peyton obviously likes. Sean Payton, I should say, likes.
Get your thoughts on this one. We can talk a little bit more about Christian Kirk if you want, but this is maybe elevating a little bit. Can we trade for Drake London? You talked about, you don't want to stunt the growth of some guys, but wouldn't mind having a big name on this roster. Does Drake London do anything for you, Jody? And can we trade for him? Yeah, I think we could trade for him. It just, what would the asking price be, right?
I think he would cost a lot, but yeah, he's on the short list of true number one wide receiver. And I see some people in the chat, is Sutton a 1? Is he a 2? Whatever. He's Denver's number 1. And like I've said, the only way I want another wide receiver in this room is if you get somebody better than Sutton. And if you don't get somebody better than Sutton, I don't really want to stunt the growth. I mean, your depth is fine there. I mean, you got Franklin, you got Mims, you got Bryant. You got little Jordan Humphreys, which you can think whatever, but he was playing clutch. And, I mean, look what he did in Buffalo. I mean, he really should have had 2 touchdowns in that game. So they're looking for him. He was getting open. So I think your depth, you signed Banny again. I mean, your depth's there. They'll probably draft a guy, would be my guess. Unless this A.J. Brown stuff pans out. I don't know what to believe. I hear it's there. I hear they're cooling. I don't know. But they're freeing up money to make some kind of, in my opinion, bigger move. And I'm hoping that's it. But back to London, yeah, he's on my short list of a true number 1 wide receiver. So, yeah, I would trade for him.
This would be my pushback when it comes to stunting the growth, because I've been thinking about this for a little while. If Mike Evans would have came to the Denver Broncos, I think veteran leadership can help teach other wide receivers. Now, I didn't think that Mike Evans was going to get a 3-year contract either, but you know what I mean? Thought it would be a little bit shorter term than that. But that being said, a guy that comes in that can come in and help this roster, not stunt the growth of this roster when it comes to the wide receiver room, but help the wide receiver room while still giving us, meaningful production on the football field. I think that's something that can absolutely get done.
But I think a healthy Mike Evans is better than Sutton. So I agree with that. I think he's a healthy Mike Evans is a number 1.
Okay.
So I'm on that. Now, if you think Mike Evans is not healthy and he's a 3 or a 4, then pass on Mike Evans for me.
Okay. There you go. I got one guy left. One player left on our free agent list, and I think this is the last one of the evening. Everybody, I know it doesn't make any sense because we've got enough running backs on this roster. I don't know where we would even shoehorn him in. But I'm talked about this before. I'm talking about this guy again. Brian Robinson Jr. sitting out there as a potential free agent, backed up McCaffrey with the 49ers last year, but literally 797 yards his first year, 733 his second, 719 his third year. Backs up McCaffrey, gets 400 yards. His average per carry, 3.9, 4.1, 4.3, 4.3. This is a productive back. I just don't understand why all the options out there, this wasn't one of our options that we didn't go after, pick up, rather than maybe some of the options that we've picked up along the way. I think Brian Robinson Jr. is an absolute stud, and on top of it, he's 27 years old. So you're not talking about some 30-year-old back you're bringing in. You can actually kind of build a duo out of him and R.J. Harvey in the future, or him and J.K. Dobbins right now. I really felt like I still feel this is a fantastic move, because I think you still have room on this roster, and maybe you can deal one of these other running backs on your roster that you no longer need draft time or post-draft, or just have to cut him. I don't know. Brian Robinson Jr. is on my list.
Well, I think he's an upgrade over McLaughlin and Beatty. I don't really understand why. I think those are camp bodies. And I think you're drafting a running back, and those guys probably are not even dressing. I mean, McLaughlin didn't dress till J.K. got hurt anyway. So, I mean, I would be fine if you decided not to draft a running back and you brought him in. He's definitely one of your 3 best.
Martin's in agreement. Robinson is the guy I would love to have as JK's backup. He's saying Robinson could pick up the dirty short yardage stuff that can keep JK healthy for the year. He says he's on the wish list as well as Cam Jordan and a couple other names that, we mentioned Drake London. That's on his list for Rodney. Dallas Goedert didn't make our list. I was kind of surprised about that one. And Rodney and our good friend Trevor, you guys are right in line. He likes Matt Milano as well. So,
Can
gentlemen,
I throw a guy out real quick? Because I've seen
Yeah.
his name get brought up, and I know people are going to be yes or no. But if Cooper or Ellis or Q Robinson are included in this AJ Brown trade, which I've seen different names,
floated.
would you bring Von Miller back?
I'll be 100% honest. Yes. I think that he was productive last year for the Commanders, and I think he is one of those ageless wonders. And I think that you could get production out of Von Miller, especially in an elite defense. I'm not one of those guys for nostalgia, just for nostalgia point. I think that Von Miller still has stuff left in the tank, and I think if you wanted to get the most out of what's in the tank, wouldn't it be bringing him back to Denver, Colorado? I'm just saying.
Well, I think he'd be motivated.
I think he'd be ready. I think he'd have some gas in the tank. Kenny says yes. Rodney says no. Trevor says,
Probably a lot of Bronco fans are not going to like this, but no, because I don't see. The Eagles' asking price for AJ Brown. It's not. It's going to be more than I think what some people think. And I don't think Denver's in on Brown, but Von Miller. I know that a heck of a player back in the day. Obviously, love Von Miller. He's a future Hall of Famer, but I just don't see it. He's been begging to come back to Denver how many years now? They haven't brought him back. I don't think this is the season for it. I would love his veteran leadership in the building, just to kind of give it a run and see what he's got. But I think he's probably going to get a better opportunity elsewhere. And this edge rusher room. There's an edge rusher room that I think that this team's obviously excited about, and they're invested in. They just moved Jonathan Cooper's contract, some of that money in his contract to create more cap space. I think that's makes him harder to trade first and foremost. But I think Denver's invested with what they got. I don't think Von Miller's coming back to Denver.
17 games, 9 sacks last season for Von Miller.
And I only ask if one of the pass rushers are included in this trade for Brown. I'm just throwing a hypothetical out. If one of the, because you're deep there, if one of those pass rushers, do you fill it with Von Miller?
Yeah, I think I love the scenario you put forth. It could happen a million different ways, right? For one reason or another, draft day trade. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden you want to move up. They're like, yeah, you'll have to throw in this pick and a player, and the player happens to be Jonathan Cooper. Well, all of a sudden we got a hole. Like I said, played in 17 games. We're not talking about a guy that could only dress for 13 games. He got in 17 games. He got in 9 sacks. He still has some in the tank. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. Glenn Ashley coming in, one of our last comments. Number 1, Waddle. Number 2, Olave. Number 3, Pickens. Number 4, Brown. Our next 3 first-rounders are more likely like early seconds. If you go out there and you need to, pedal away your first-round pick, not a better year to do it than right now if someone's willing to look at that as a first-round pick still. Gentlemen, that kind of does wrap up. We were going to talk a little bit about, the pressure that this might put on the draft. I think we're going to have to save that for another episode. We're right at almost an hour here. Fantastic episode here. Vaughn wants to come back. Yeah, he sure does. And D West is coming and saying, why is Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon still not looked at by us? Yeah, it's the question we started off with, D West. It's been a perplexing one. And like I said, probably one of the more disappointing off seasons when it's come to free agents thus far. maybe Joe Mixon's out there, maybe Nick Chubb's out there, and maybe they're on our roster. But we'll have to wait to see who's going to be that first non-Bronco player to hit the Broncos roster. Will we see one? Trevor, I'll start with you. I started with Jody as far as hellos. Start with you as far as final thoughts and some goodbyes, my friend.
Yeah, final thoughts. I mean, for me, first week of free agency's wrapped up in the books. I do think the Broncos will make a few signings. I just don't. It's not going to be splashy ones, in my opinion. I think they could look to add to the defensive line. I think that's where they should at this point in time. Makes a lot of sense for this team to continue to upgrade your defensive line. I think again, guys like Cam Jordan, Calais Campbell should absolutely be on the table. Those are probably my two favorite free agents that actually fit the Broncos up to this point. But no, I mean, I would, if Broncos country out there, I mean, I would expect some signings going forward at some point in time. I think this team will add players. And they've been in on guys. That's the thing. They've checked in a lot on players. I mean, this team doesn't not check in on players. They do, but just some of the price that these players are going for, it's just something this team can't really afford right now. I mean, you got to pay Bo Nixon a couple of seasons, $50 million plus if he continues to play like he is now. Plus of what they've spent on money re-signing guys. I mean, all the players they've signed over the past 16 months, they clearly believe in this team. They've invested in the players that are on the roster currently. So we'll see. I mean, whether I don't agree 100% with just staying stagnant. I think there's at times where you need to push in the chips a little bit in more running back. But no, we'll see what this team does the rest of the offseason. I'm one of those that I want to wait out the rest of the offseason and see what this team does before I go in and judge this team too harsh. I mean, we're one week into free agency. My advice: let this offseason play out and see what this team does. Maybe there's some surprises out there. We shall see. But not surprised as the posse. We really appreciate the posse members out there, whether you're watching live or after the fact. Our numbers have been great, and we really appreciate everybody out there and love the appreciation that everybody's showing us. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We have more shows coming up. We have the draft show tomorrow night with me and Kenny, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Kenny and I are also talking about doing a mail baggage kind of show on Monday. And then Tuesday, we're right around with the juice, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to check us out. We love the interaction with everybody, and appreciate everybody that gets a chance to join us on the show. So hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Stay cool. It's hard telling at this point in time what where people are at. If it's warm, if it's cold, I swear it's been a bipolar kind of year, winter, I should say. So hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there, and as always, go Broncos.
Can always tell that Trevor has a hard time saying goodbye, man. One of the longest outros or goodbyes we've had, man. Lots of things we wanted to wrap up in there, man. But I will say, man, thank you to the posse. Right now, I want to say thank you to Jody as he says his goodbyes, gives us some final thoughts as well.
Goodbye.
Appreciate you, buddy.
No. I'm just in the same boat as Trevor. I mean, I wish they would have upgraded at running back. But I understand why they didn't land ETN. You were going to have to massively overpay because he wanted to go home and said that was number one on his list when they got involved. So I'm going to wait till the draft and see what they do at running back. There are guys that everyone has mentioned that we like. So if they go that route, I'm fine with that. And I don't think that it stunts the growth of RJ Harvey at all. I think they like RJ Harvey. So hopefully he takes that next leap. And then remember, we were one game away from the Super Bowl with this roster. Were there things that fell our way? Yeah, but I think in Denver's mind, they feel it was more of a play calling, scheme, execution type thing than it was players. And like Trevor said, hopefully Franklin takes that year 3 jump. Hopefully Harvey takes that year 2 jump. And if that happens, then you don't need some of these guys in this room. But I'm excited for the draft. That's where I'm leaning next, and hopefully we can fill some holes with that. And I'm excited for this Davis Webb thing. I think that's going to fix a lot of things that that people think needed to be fixed with players, and I think Denver feels it was a execution on their end. So
there's that.
So there's that, and good night and goodbye.
Heck of an outro, Jody.
I was almost better with your just goodbye. No,
Goodbye.
moment of the evening. I appreciate that, man. No, it is. It's been a quite the off season. Free agency hasn't been what's expected, but we're looking forward to the draft, man. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Might see 4 horsemen on there. Talking about the NFL draft, I think that's getting all lined up. Like Trevor alluded to, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 p.m. on the East Coast for the Pick Is In mock draft show. We've been dropping podcasts left, right, and otherwise in this offseason, so make sure you're abreast. We go live every Wednesday and Saturday with the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Every Tuesday, we have the Juice podcast at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, and then Trevor's springing on me. There might be a special mailbag edition of something coming in. I'm just telling you, you need to make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you hit that notification button so you're not missing out. We got podcasts all over the place. Want to give a special shout out, man. Phil McLaughlin, I forgot to mention when he came in with his thoughts and his comments, man. He came in with 100 stars. We really appreciate that out there in the posse. But to all the posse members that made this an absolutely fantastic show, all the comments, all the questions, we appreciate you a ton. If you can give us a thumbs up on the way out the door, if you can give us a little share, a little like, maybe a subscribe, man, it goes a long, long way. We appreciate you all, man. Can't wait to be talking with you, it sounds like, tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we'll be back here 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, but we're going to get out of here the way we always do. Make sure you keep your boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and, of course, the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next episode, we're out of here. Have a great night, everybody.